Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristan and Michael, and you are listening to Fuse, transparent conversations for marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss topics that are thought about but not talked about. So tell your friends and family to check us out and join us on social media at Fuse Marriages, or info@fusemarriages.com is our email.
Hey. How you doing today?
I'm feeling good. What about you, sir?
Hey, you know what? New day, new time. Woke up, they say with my feet planted. I had to get, nobody had to dress me. Mm-hmm. I can feed myself, dress myself.
That's what they say.
That's a good day.
I'm glad that my bed was my cooling board, was what my big mom used to say.
Man, it's the basics, right? That we kind of sometimes just overlook.
Mm-hmm.
We want things to be different, but we're able to get up, you know what I mean, with alarm clock or not. We can still get up. Some of us aren't morning people, so we need just hit snooze like 10 times in a row.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Every lot of people out there like that. You know what I mean? They gotta hit this.
If you're dropping hints,
snooze.
I'm a morning person. I'm just not as much a morning person as you are, and I'm more of a night person.
You do a lot though.
I can function better. I can function okay at night. You can't function at night, so
yeah.
People
I shut it down.
By the time that people listen to some of us, those that listen to us in the evening are like, okay.
Yeah,
listening as we get ready on the come down.
Everybody different though, you know what I mean? So I just try to appreciate, if you're a night person, cool. If I'm a morning person, I want you to be cool with it. It's just cool.
You know what? And that kind of leads into our topic for today, because there are some things that you want to know about your spouse or your spouse to be before you get married. I've told the story before, but I used to think that you were more of a night person because when we were dating, I worked late into the evening sometimes, and you would be all chipper on the phone with me. You'd be like, oh, when I would be driving back to my house, and I didn't find out until later you took a nap and woke up so that you could kind of talk to me while I was on my commute when we lived in LA. And I didn't know that.
Sacrifice, you know what I mean? The sacrifice for love, or at least trying to discover love. You got to maybe do something outside the box. Hopefully they ain't putting on too big of a front and like you faking it to be something different.
You
but
put on your best self.
Huh?
So you still do want to put on your best self. But a lot of people, they say, you want to start how you're going to continue. You don't want to do something that you can't keep up. So our topic for today is rules of engagements, things you want to find out before you say I do. Now, there is a whole slew of things that you want to know, but these might be some that are kind of off the beaten path, some things that maybe you haven't heard before.
A little different, you know what I mean? Like, everybody want to know about their credit score and all this good stuff,
Ooh, that's a whole thing.
Make sure they ain't got
that up front. Like, at what point do you ask for somebody's credit score?
I mean, I think before you say I do, y'all should at least have a discussion about it, even though that's not one of the things we're going to talk about. But I think that's definitely something that should come up and say, hey, you know what is it? And then it shouldn't be a deal breaker either, though. If your credit score is at 300 and theirs at 850, you know what? Ooh. I may pause you for not wanting to get married, but like hopefully that don't be like a deal breaker. I know that might be for some people though.
Yeah.
It might be.
Some credit things are you don't know. Some credit things are irresponsible. Some credit things are, just things happen. But that is not necessarily what we're getting into today. So I'm going to bring up our first topic for today. Things that you might want to know. Some things that are a little off the beaten path of what you might want to know before you say I do. Number one, how you wind down.
I think that's so important, right? Because we always got the hustle and bustle, whether it's work, whether it's the kids, whether it's just the busyness of life. And like at some point we do want to like, okay, I want to chill out. Maybe some people may want to chill out, maybe like, hey, it's going out. That's their chill out. That's their getaway. They want to go to the spot. Let's go to the spot. Let's go to the, get it on. Or some people want to I want to just chill and watch TV. Right. But to understand that, I think you got to understand that in a way that how does that mesh with your personality and what do you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a question that I don't think a lot of people think about, but it can really impact your marriage because like you said, if one person is like, oh, the way I wind down is I go out and I get my drinks and I chill. And the other person's like, no, I like just to kind of get into some night clothes and watch a movie at the house. You know, that's a totally different thing. So then your dynamics is how are you spending time together if you don't come down from your day or your week in the same way? And I say day because some people you have to also consider may have children, may be trying to figure out like, okay, is my coming down, okay, I got to get away from everybody. Is my wind down, you know what? I like to take a vacation. That's what I do. I work really hard and then I take, you know, these couple days off or this, whatever that looks like. So I think that's a really big one that can cause conflict and a lot of consternation if you're not really, if you don't know ahead of time.
Yeah, that conflict is really what you're trying to at least understand. Maybe you can't avoid it because like you can't change that person, but to know it ahead of time, like, hey, you know what? When they come home from a busy day, they want the music turned up loud. And they want to just like, man, just be energized. And like, what about me? If I come down, I want to light some candles. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put some Barry White on. I'm gonna put some jazz on. I want to kind of like, it's just different. Like, hold on, now we clashing just over how we wind down. Not like about any issue. I'm upset. You know what? You want to go play what? You want your boys to come on and play some cards. That's how you wind down?
Yeah.
Hold on, man. I want to read me a book and some peace and quiet. And you're arguing over like, hey, I had like to say arguing, having that conflict over really just how you wind down. Yeah. So to understand that.
And that's when you hear things like, we're just so different. We're just so different. Yeah. Well, you were different before, but the what needs to happen in this conversation, if you do find yourself on opposite sides of the spectrum, is to be able to say like, okay, how do we manage this? Like, obviously, we don't see this the same way. How do we manage this in the context of our marriage? Right, because what can't be is, well, I'm going to do me and you do you and don't get in my way, because then you end up operating in two different kind of spheres and that distance just grows. But you do still have to be able to be yourself. You do still have to be able to come down from the challenges that you experience. And it's good to know that about your spouse. If they say, man, it's been a hard week, or you know that they have a big presentation or something that's going on, then you know how to help them kind of get into that groove. And that's a place where people can really feel loved. Like, man, they really value me, because I was struggling so much. This was such a challenging time of the week. They knew that I needed a bath and candles, and I ordered Chinese food, or they knew that I just wanted to kind of get dressed up and feel good about myself because it was such a beating of a week, you know. So to know that about yourself makes you just that much better of a partner. Okay, number 2. This one's a little bit funny but serious. Okay, so how often do you want to see your mama? How often do you want to see your parents, your family?
Yeah, because everybody's different, right? Some people like, you know what, they can go months on months without seeing, no family. That's normal for them. Then you got some other people on the other side of the spectrum, like, hey, you know what? No. Every like Wednesday at 5 p.m., I'm calling my mama and checking in on family. They said that's just like normal. Yeah. And then like if you on either side of that spectrum, it's like, okay, hold on, like how that work? And you got to figure out how to address that, like in a way that so that, you know what, you don't want them pulled away from their family if that's normal. And likewise, he probably looking at you or she looking at you like, why you don't talk to people? You're like, no, I don't talk to my people. They good. They still living. Like if they still living and breathing, you know what I mean? I ain't got to call and let them know I made it in from out of town. They good. Like, hold on, no, I need to give me a quick call real quick. Hold on. And then, that's a conversation. Hey, mama, I made it home from, traveling, said, and the other, oh, okay, how was the trip? They said, you're like, hold on. We go out of town almost every other week. You got to tell them every time we go out of town? Like, yeah, that's what you mean? What's the problem? But so like, just understanding that, right? Because, holidays, we may want to go visit. Like visiting family is like, no, that's normal. We go visit family. Somewhere, somebody, and probably mine, not yours, because it ain't the same when it's theirs. It's like I want to visit. I'm gonna go visit mine, not yours, because that's what we say. Visit family. We ain't talking about really family. We talking about my family. Yeah, we ain't talking about your family. Depending on who's talking. Yeah, who's talking about their own. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about my own family. Right. So, but understanding that, like, okay, how often? Yeah. Right. And the idea is to get it beforehand, to get that understanding before you say I do. How often do you want to see your mama?
Yeah, if you're already married, it's still not too late to kind of have these dialogues, but definitely helpful the sooner that you know. But on this is really a big area of conflict in marriages, is the extended family. How often do you talk? How often do you visit? What's the expectation? Michael mentioned holidays. Like, okay, is it every Christmas we go over this person's house? Is it every Thanksgiving we go to this person's house? Well, what happens when we get married? Do I get to choose? What about my people? What about what I like to do? Maybe I don't want to go anywhere. And maybe I just like Christmas by myself. That's just what I do. Or maybe New Year's, your whole family gets together for a New Year's celebration. New Year's, we stay in the house. There's too much going on out there. We just stay in the house and wake up the next day and kind of chill, take that extra day before before our busy whole new year starts. Yeah. So having as many of these kinds of familial conversations as possible is really important, because you mentioned talking. And we have talked to couples that I talk to my dad for 2 hours every day, hey, before I go to bed, I call and check on my mom. That's just what we do. Be like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I gotta call my mom, or whatever. Yeah. That can be an area of conflict. And it's something that you have to be willing. First of all, you have to be willing to switch it up, but it's also something that has to be communicated. It can't be assumed that because it's what you've done all this time, that that's still what you're going to do. Even if you're married, even if it's been something that you and your wife have done, or you and your husband has done or have done, you want to still like, hey, you know what? This is something, are you cool with this? And giving them the opportunity to say, you know what, I've just been kind of going along with it, but I really don't like going every year. Right. I really want us to start a different kind of tradition. I really want us to start new. And this is, let me put this in there. This is very important for blended families. Like, this is obviously important for everybody, but in a blended family situation, you may have created traditions that existed before your new spouse came into the picture. And now that your new spouse is in the picture, they don't just kind of graft into what you have been doing. This should be a dialogue that you have so that you two are making some like changes. And sidebar, don't make all the changes at one time. Don't say, okay, we're going to totally just start from scratch. This is what we're going to do. Kids get in line, parents get in line. That's not the way that it works. But you do want to say, you know what, over the course of the next 5 years, I'd like to try to change this a little bit. This would make me feel comfortable. I would love if we could go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. I know that you're accustomed to going to Washington, D.C. for Thanksgiving, or you like going to New York for Christmas because it's snowing. I know my family, they live in Florida. I would love to see them in Florida, or whatever the case may be. That's really important to making sure that you as the unit feel like it's us, like it's an us thing and not just a you thing. So big deal when you're talking about the blending of a family, but it's also a big deal if you're just talking about being married, staying married, getting married. All of that is important. How often do you talk to your parents? How often do you see your family? And what does that extended family look like? Do people just drop in? Let me know. Do we go places and, we tour the families on, Easter? We go to 5 different houses. Let me know. And this is some of the stuff that you find out when you're dating, but not all of this stuff that you find out that you're dating. Sometimes it revs up when you're married because you had an option to go or not go when you were dating. Now we have to make these decisions together. So that's something. So we are going to hop into our quick break, and then we're going to come back and we are going to really be talking about those rules of engagements, things that you should definitely know before you say I do that are a little bit off of that beaten path. Hey, y'all, we just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for listening. We appreciate your support. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe, follow us on all social media. And we have this thing that we want you to check out. FusedRadio.com. There are other broadcasters that you will hear from. You're really going to love it. So thank you. You all are so wonderful. And we look forward to connecting with you more in the future. Welcome back Today here at Fused Marriages, we are talking about the rules of engagements, things to ask or to find out about your partner before you say I do. And for those of you that have already said I do, don't worry. This is for you too. You still need to make sure that you're asking some of these questions, or make sure that what you are observing, is that really the case? So one of the things we talked about is kind of how the person winds down, or how often the person talks to their family. These are things that you can find out in the course and verify. Hey, I noticed that you do this. Is this something that you do all the time, or is something wrong? Something that I've picked up on. So you were kind of talking on the break on something that we've discussed before on that.
Yeah. So I have a great uncle, right? Lord bless his soul. He's up in heaven now. But when he was alive, and when his mother was alive, even up until his 60s, that he would call his mother every day at the same time. I want to say like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that. Mm-hmm. But like every day he would call her. Mm-hmm. Every day. Didn't miss a day, Monday through Sunday, that he would call her. And I'm like, man, I don't know, people had an issue with that. His wife had an issue with that, or just like he would, if you talking to him, hold on, I got to go. I got to call my mama. Mm-hmm. And he good and grown, and kids are grown and everything, but like that's what he did every day. Some people have a problem with that. Maybe like every day. Hold on, we in the middle of eating dinner. Oh no, let me call my mama. I'll be right back. Yeah. Hold on, we in a conversation. Let me call my mama. I'll be right back. But that was him. That's what they had. So,
I think that as long as some things are communicated and understood, and by understood, it doesn't necessarily mean that you get it, but that I understand that that's how the person operates. I think that that's helpful to the relationship. So if it is that you call your mom every day, make sure that your spouse is aware, hey, this is a habit, because something like that, somebody could think something's wrong. Like, hey, is she okay? Are you checking on her? Is something going on? It's like, or it can just be like, this is what it is. And for those that are marrying into the situation, I do want to say not a situation about like necessarily calling a parent or even visiting a parent, but be careful on how critical you are, because you got some stuff too. Okay. You got some things that you brought of habits that you think are normal. Even when it comes to communicating, how y'all talk, how do you and your dad, do y'all talk about certain things, or you and your mom, do you talk about certain things that your spouse might be like, who are you talking to? Like, how y'all vibing like this? This is a different kind of thing. So just kind of watch out for how you might approach. Like, don't call your dude or your lady like, man, that's weird. That's crazy. I can't believe you do that. Don't put them down for the things that they are doing. This is about discovery. This is about understanding so that you can come together. Because we have heard of couples that put down the other person because of how they operate and what they are accustomed to in their familial environment. So be cautious and be aware, because that's something that's really precious and prized to that person. But also be willing to make adjustments. Okay. So the next one, when you get upset, do you still cook?
Yeah, who
this
wrote
is definitely my husband's
Yeah, I wrote
question.
that.
Okay.
I wrote that. I said that. And actually, it's not even about cooking, right?
Right.
It could be like, hey, when you get mad, do you still put gas in your wife's car? Mm-hmm. When you get mad, are you gonna like not repair the sink for like 3 months because you mad at her? Mm-hmm. Like when you get mad, what is your response? Mm-hmm. What is your response? And like, it's not that I need to understand that just from, before I step into this and say I do, I need to understand it. Okay, when she get hot, you know what I mean? I ain't getting no hugs. And can I be cool with that?
And get no hugs.
Well, I didn't seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't seen like, don't touch me. Mm-hmm. Watch out, they throw the shoulder. You know what I mean? They do a little juke move like, like Barry Sanders. Huh. You know what I mean? They do the juke move. Like I said, hold on, what is that? Like, I can't even like put my hand on your shoulder. I was like, wow, okay. You know what? I don't know if I've been to deal with that. If I can't even touch you when you mad, I understand we may not talk. We may not, you may not, just be on the same energy, this, that, and the other. But I want to at least be, I want to understand that before I say I do.
Yeah.
And then I can step into that. Okay, do I want to be married or not to that situation? Because I can't expect you to change. Because everybody responds differently when they get upset. Mm-hmm. Everybody growing, I ain't trying to say everybody be perfect. Like, okay, you got to be kumbaya when you mad, this, that, and the other. But just to understand where that person is at.
Yeah. I think that this, I mean, we said the cook thing, which is funny in itself, but there are people, gosh, I sometimes I hate going back to the blended family thing and on total context, but it's true. There are some people that will not treat your kids the same if they're upset with you. There are some people, and that happens in a blended, that I've seen it and heard of it happening in blended families, which is so sad, I think. But to know, okay, how is this person going to respond to my kids if they're upset with me? How is this person going to respond to me? Are they not going to cook? Are they not going to put gas in the car? And are they not going to, like, are we not going to have sex? Now, you shouldn't want to have sex if you're mad. Like, you should want to resolve the problem, but that's a whole different issue. But does that mean that the person's gonna be cruel? Are they gonna stomp around the house? Or they gonna ignore me altogether? Are they not gonna answer my calls or my text messages or whatever? Just knowing how a person responds when they're upset. And I don't know, I don't know if I'm gonna say this because it was said to me, and I halfway believe it. Okay, that you should see how a person operates in as many seasons as possible prior to getting married. Yeah. Now there are plenty of circumstances where you don't have a long engagement or you're not in the same city when you're kind of dating. But if you're able to kind of see how somebody responds when they're disappointed, see how somebody responds, like take mental notes of this and see what they need in that season. Man, when my lady is disappointed, when something happens, she's upset with herself, she needs words of affirmation and she needs them for a while. Or if I write her a letter, that makes her feel good, or bring her flowers for no reason. Or what do I do when my man is happy? I can tell because he be cleaning, he happy. He's gonna clean up everything because he just wants his space to feel good because he has such good energy. Or when my lady's upset, she be cleaning. When she's mad, everything gonna be spotless. I can tell she's upset about something. So knowing those kinds of things ahead of time will save you a lot of heartache. Yeah, because there are a lot of things that are communicated without words, and I think that talking without words can sometimes be even more powerful if we're able to observe body language. We're able to observe how our spouse, our partner, our life mate is operating in different times and different seasons and different spaces. That's a big deal. So knowing how your partner is going to operate when they're upset is major. And caveat to that when your partner is upset, they still should never be abusive, physically, emotionally, financially, any of that. There should never be abuse if your partner's upset. And I say straight out, run. If your partner gets upset with you and they start kind of throwing stuff at you or cussing you out and getting in your face, that's not how they can't handle themselves. So they certainly not going to handle you right. If they can't handle how they are in their own body when they're angry, then they're not mature enough to be married. I'm gonna say that. That's good. Just a quick story as we jump into the next topic. But I was talking to this couple, right? And they're married and they had issues with their in-laws, right? So the in-laws necessarily didn't like her. Okay. And even with all of that, right? So basically it was upsetting, basically to the point where, like it was very obvious that, talking bad about her, this, that, and the other, talking maybe about the kids and all kind of crazy stuff, right? And still this woman went and visited the in-laws. I just respected that. I'm like, to me, if I'm her husband, I see, okay, even when she upset, she's still able to do that. That was like amazing. I'm like, man, that like, I don't know if he saw that beforehand or during or whatever, but the idea of seeing, okay, when she upset, I already see this is a sticky situation. I see how she gonna handle this and probably everything else in life. Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to know that because then one spouse can cover the other. They can kind of make sure, hey, I know that this is going to be a challenging visit. Are you okay? But the maturity that it takes to say, you know what, this is greater because, and on that, before we jump into that next one, if you start cutting off family and start saying, I'm not going to talk to that person, I'm not going to talk to that person, there are some toxic relationships that you say, I don't want that in my space. But there is also some relationships that you say, okay, if I cut off this person or I cut off these people, am I cutting off my kids? Am I cutting off the future opportunities for healing or mending? So you have to make that determination between yourself, your spouse, maybe even a counselor, to figure out how you negotiate some sticky waters. But I I admire the maturity that it takes, that even when there are challenging roads, that you would still be willing to make tough calls and sacrifices. And they don't have to necessarily be forever either. So our next one is, what kind of job will you not take?
Yeah, I think you really. To me, this is a man thing right here. I know women, y'all gotta. You know what I'm saying, this is a 2-parent. A unit. So it's got a husband and a wife. I put the ownership on the man.
Okay.
To ask women to ask their men this, or at least the guy that they're dating or the guy they're engaged to, what kind of job you won't take? Because at the end of the day, it's like, hold on, we trying to survive. Are you willing to do whatever it takes for us to make it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand, you got a master's degree. But what happened if you got to go to Walmart just in between while we try to get everything figured out? You know what I mean? Hold on now. I ain't trying to do nothing illegal, but what job are you not willing to take? Well, you know what? I can't, I got to stay here until I can get it figured out, or this, that, and the other. Hold on. But we hungry. These kids they got private school, whatever it is. Maybe y'all just trying to get kids some clothes. But to understand that from your dude of hold on, is he willing to humble himself? In my opinion, that's the word I would use to say, I may take a step back before I take a step back up. Because not saying you're trying to stay there, but are they willing to say, okay, you know what? Cool. I'll walk to work. Go ahead, take the car. I'll get the bus. What you willing to do? You know what I mean? You want to understand, okay, if he Hollywood, I'm using Hollywood as, mentality, not as a location. Of he got to be a certain way, he got to look this, got to feel that, got to present himself this way, can't be seen this. I can't be seen walking. I got this status thing to keep up. And being able to humble themselves, men in particular. I can't speak to women because I don't expect women to do this. Not in no marriage. It's all on the man to really say, okay, I go down to the grind. If I got to be a garbage man for whatever, I don't care what it is.
Garbage
am
man
I willing?
Good money.
Then am I willing? But still, people get that in their mind. Sanitation worker. Oh, okay. They're
shout out to all of y'all.
Okay,
we appreciate you.
I got a kinfolk work with man. Now he doing it. Man, Mr. Carlos. I speak his name, but but some people don't. They look down on it, and they shouldn't. And are the men that you're dating or interested in? Are they willing to hey, I do whatever it takes?
And I think that's the bottom line. Are they willing to do what it takes? And this goes for women too. I know you don't see it necessarily like that, but knowing okay, what is she? I would want to know, if I were a dude, how far would my lady be willing to go to make it happen for the family? But I think both of those really fit, because you don't know what's around the corner. Right now, y'all might be living it up, and right around the corner. And that's why we can't be disparaging to anybody, because you're really just one step away, one choice away, one decision away, one catastrophe away, one surprise away from your life being completely different. And so knowing what your partner is willing to do to make sure that you can survive, I think is major. What?
I gotta raise my hand. You in class, you gotta raise your hand. Hold on, I want to interrupt, but I want to do it politely. I was watching this show, right? This is a couple of years ago, actually. I don't know if you know Willie from Day 26, right? He doing his own thing now. He got his music career, this, that, and the other, acting, this, that. Well, anyway, they was on this TV show, and he was struggling, right? Either actor life, that music life, it's that's a struggle. You know what I mean? The money don't flow seamlessly. You gotta it's hard.
It's a struggle.
So he wasn't bringing in the money, right? And they had kids. They're trying to figure it out, but his wife said, okay, you know what, baby, I can handle this thing. I can help us, this, that, and the other. And how she decided to help, she went back to the pole. She went back. She was on it before. Anyway, it's a whole different topic. And she went to and she didn't tell him. And she was like, because he said, they heard, oh, baby, thank you for getting, you helping us out, paying the bills, the rent, the more, whatever. And he found out. He was mad. See, that's why I say I don't put it on women. Because most men ain't going to no pole. We not going to that.
Okay.
We're not going to have no, you know what I mean?
We might have some listeners that do, but I think that brings up a
man to do that?
I'm just saying, we don't know. We have a lot of people that tune in, so we don't know.
That's why I don't put it on women, though. That's basically
okay,
I don't want y'all doing
that. knowing that that is a possibility, like knowing, hey, that's something, and some spouses, they don't share those kinds of things and some do. But what we're saying is creating boundaries within the context of your relationship so that you know how far will somebody go, how far will they not go. And operating within those so that you have some commonality. Like, okay, I know we won't do that. When we sent our oldest to college, that's one of the questions that you asked her. Sure, like, if I get a call, what will it not be for?
What will it not be? That's okay, it.
I won't get a call saying that you did this. Yeah. And knowing that about your spouse, I won't have a conversation about this because I already know it's not going to be that. But I do think that it's major because, y'all, we talk about stuff we know. Like, we have been in places where Michael was walking to work and we trying to figure out how we're going to make this, riding the bus or riding a bike. I think...
Yeah, I did that one time, man. I said, I'm gonna ride the bike. You go ahead, baby. You got the car, this, that, and the other. It ain't that far, maybe 3 or 4 miles, whatever. Man, my legs were hurting for 3 days. I said, I can't do that no more. We gotta figure out something else. My leg was, I said, man, my glutes, my maximum gluteus is like, man, it's tender. Yeah, what is it? Did I say it backwards? They know what I mean, though. Yeah. They know what I'm talking about.
He was walking like...
Yeah, it was, man. I said, no, I can't do that.
I think you try to like take a bath.
Yeah, take a bath, try to soak in the tub. Like, man, it didn't work. I just got to like wore off about a week and a half.
You did it though. You were like, hey,
I did it.
We got 2 different places we have to go. We have to figure this thing out. And hey, I'm gonna take the hit on this side. How do we do this? And there might be seasons in your marriage, and likely will be seasons in their marriage where you're gonna have to make some adjustments. And I'm not saying that you have to hit rock bottom or anything, but I am saying you should know that your partner's got you. And in what way is your partner likely to do things like you mentioned earlier? I have met and talked to some dudes be like, don't have no kind of money coming in. Nah, I'm not doing that. Like, wait a minute.
I don't get that.
You got to make, you got people.
Yeah.
You got people depending on you. So knowing that. So anyway, these are some of the rules of engagement, things that you need to find out before you say I do. We'd love to hear from you guys. So let us know what your thoughts are on this topic. But we do thank you for joining us. Make sure that you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram and check out our website for more content and resources. FuseMarriages.com. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to Fused with Tristan and Michael.